Welcome to beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada's third largest metropolitan city. It is located on the shores of the Pacific Ocean Strait of Georgia and in the shadows of the stunning Coast Mountains. A clear summer afternoon makes this one of the most picturesque landscapes in North America. That, coupled with its many parks, museums, and one-of-a-kind nightlife, make this an attractive destination for any traveler. And it's eco-friendly to boot. Working towards his goal to become the greenest city in the world by 2020, but it takes a lot of green to survive here too. For years it was touted as the most expensive city in Canada. In July 2011 they did hand that title over to Toronto. Still, a backpacker budget can be tricky in this 2010 Winter Olympic Games host city. But knowing where to go, where to eat, and where to stay, one can still experience Vancouver and all it has to offer without breaking the bank. So come on, let's experience this great city on the backpacker's budget.
I'm Andrew Christopher, and I have a passion for traveling. I believe you don't have to be retired to begin seeing the world, and certainly don't have to go broke doing it. Over the last 6 years, I've spent as much time as I could afford seeing the world on a budget I could afford, backpacking across 4 continents and still with so many more countries to check off my list. With a strict, predetermined budget, we'll set off to some of the world's great locations to find that with a little planning and some self-control, no city is off limits to the backpacker's budget. According to the Vancouver Economic Development Commission, the average tourist spends $117 per day here, making tourism a $4.4 billion industry. Now I'm all about helping a local economy, but with very limited funds, we'll do our best to make as little an impact as possible. We'll set a budget of $40, 1/3 the average tourist's daily allowance. Now the quickest way to burn a hole through any traveler's cash flow is accommodations. While I have had success in the past with websites like hostelworld.com, in Vancouver the price of a bed can still set you back upwards of $20 or more. That effectively slashes our daily amount in half. The greatest thing to happen to backpackers is what's known as couch surfing.
Hello?
Hey, is this Paul?
Yeah.
Hey Paul, it's Andrew, your couch surfer.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. We're at the door.
Cool, come on up.
Okay. An online network of over 2 million people in over 230 countries with a shared love of culture and travel. Hop online, choose your destination and arrival date, and find willing hosts who will put you up for the night for free. And oh, how I love that word.
Hey, nice to meet you. Is this your place?
Yeah, come on in.
Today I'm couch surfing at my new friend Paul's place, a visual effects supervisor and couch surfing veteran. In the last month and a half, he's hosted between 12 and 15 couch surfers, some staying as long as a week. Tell me what the initial draw was for you to be a host. I'm sure, being a surfer is kind of fun to, get that experience to live and staying with somebody else, but for a host perspective, what's the draw for you?
For me, as a host, I feel like I know I work a lot, and I'm out a lot and doing stuff. And I realized one day that I have this huge apartment and nobody uses it because I don't use it very much. So I figured someone can use it, and I have people come in, and sometimes I don't see them. I'll see them once when I let them in and then never again. But at least they can use the space, and I feel like I'm somehow impacting somebody and allowing them a better experience visiting or traveling with them.
Get them Safeway too? Is that why?
Paul was late for work and we had a city to see for cheap, so we parted ways with the plan to meet back up tonight for a locals look at Vancouver. After dropping off my huge pack for a more manageable one, I'm out the door and ready to get on the town. Because I'm planning to use plenty of public transportation today, my best bet and cheapest option is to pick up a day pass. Available at authorized dealers such as Max, 7-Eleven, Safeway, and London Drugs, a day pass provides unlimited transit use on all buses, SkyTrain, and SeaBus for only $9. That does take 1/4 of my budget, but seeing as how a single trip can set you back $2.50, it's the obvious way to go. Although there are dozens of parks scattered throughout the city, there are just 2 circled on my list. This is Queen Elizabeth Park, Vancouver's second most visited park, We will get to the other one later today. Queen Elizabeth holds some of the city's most impressive gardens. In addition, at just over 500 feet above sea level, the city's highest point provides some of the best views of the skyline.
On a beautiful morning like this, the crowd here is pretty diverse. Nature lovers share this space with animal lovers, artists, and athletes. You can find putt-putt, lawn bowling, tennis, but it's the Frisbee golf that's caught my eye. I'm gonna go see if I can find some players who will let me jump in for a few holes before we head into town.
Not your typical tourist activity, but a great way to experience the beauty of Vancouver and to do no damage to your bottom line. Alright, it's 10:30 and time to get a move on. A relatively quick bus ride up Main Street and Broadway runs me near Vancouver's unique Granville Island. A favorite stop for my family growing up, it still holds its charm for me today. With countless shops, shows, and food, it has plenty to keep the backpacker entertained. We lucked out in getting to experience the once-a-week farmers market, held only on Thursdays.
There's a wide variety of things for people to see. There's local products and fresh and organic, and all the vendors in the market that you see that are day vendors, they make their own products, and it's just got a diverse amount of things for people to get, you know, from groceries to little knickknacks and stuff like that.
The live music, street performances, and open-air market make this a great place to people watch and spend some serious cash if you're not careful. I'm fully stocked on my souvenirs and trinkets, so I'll save my budget for lunch. For that, I'm taking my appetite to Stock Market, home of arguably the best soup in all of Vancouver. Most importantly, it won't set me back too far on my budget. A cup of soup and focaccia bread sets me back just $6.
One review of Stock Market called it a choir of ingredients, all working in harmony, creating a symphony of taste for your mouth. I have to see what this melodic soup tastes like. I went with the Malaysian chicken, so here we go. You can taste the curry in there. It's very good.
Others agree.
Yes, so I've got red snapper soup here, which is good. It's full of chunky bits, which I like. It's pretty good. It's as good as I've had so far. I've been here 3 days, so.
Lunch is over, but before heading from the city's second most visited destination to its first, we'll head just north to one of Vancouver's many museums. The Museum of Vancouver puts a local focus on its exhibitions with the vision of holding a mirror to the city to invoke provocative conversations about its past, present, and future. Dating from the early 1900s to the late 70s, there are plenty of exhibits to take in. A $12 admission makes this likely the most expensive stop for my tour of Vancouver, but I want to showcase something for every type of backpacker. Besides, I'm still solid on my set budget, so away we go.
We're Vancouver for the curious, that's our motto. And so you get to learn about how Vancouver has changed over time, but we're also a commons for current discussion on what Vancouver could be in the future, and bringing together, you know, there's not many town squares anymore, so we're the bringing together for people, for discussion and ideas. There's lots of architects, design, things like that. It's always changing here, so it's really fascinating that the direction that the museum is going in. Well, we're a non-profit, so your admission directly supports the museum. We don't own the collections. The collections are owned by the City of Vancouver. We're the stewards of the collections, but we do all of our own internal curating and programming, sometimes with guest curators, like with Bhangra was guest curated with Naveen Gurn.
The sun is still out, so I need to be enjoying it. It's time for the famed Stanley Park. A former logging area and settlement, it was leased as parkland from the federal government in 1889. It now hosts more than 8 million visitors per year. And at just over 1,000 acres in size, it's got plenty to keep them entertained without putting much of a major dent in the budget. Whether it's enjoying the wide open spaces, the sandy beaches, or the beautiful gardens, it's hard not to feel one with nature here. especially just minutes away from downtown. I'm choosing the park's most popular activity, riding the seawall. The 2-lane path that encompasses Stanley Park's waterfront is heavily trafficked during the summer months, and for good reason. The spectacular views of the city skyline, the cool offshore breeze, and great people watching, I had to join in.
Bikes and inline skates are available to rent just outside of Stanley Park for about $5 an hour. It takes just a little bit more than an hour to get around the seawall here at Stanley Park. So I'm going to take the bike, seeing as how I can't ride an inline skate to save my life. So let's go for a ride. The helmets, they're mandatory.
Although you could literally spend an entire day at Stanley Park alone, my time is limited and there are still more things I need to check off my list on my whirlwind tour of Vancouver. Next up, historic Chinatown. Canada's largest of its kind, it's centered on Pender Street and surrounded by Gastown and the downtown financial and central business districts to the west, and the downtown east side to the north. Having just spent some of my summer in Hong Kong, stepping into Vancouver's version is a fun reminder of the Far East. The colors, signs, and wide array of smells can make you almost forget where you really are. Unfortunately, we are missing the great night market, which happens Friday through Sunday during the summer, but we'll still get a proper taste of what Chinatown has to offer. From street-side markets to the family-run restaurants, a visit to Chinatown ensures a culinary experience like no other.
So I may not be brave enough to try chicken's feet or pig's snout, but I am willing to try some traditional Chinese food while I'm here. For the most part, quick and inexpensive. It keeps me on my budget. Here I've got rice dumpling with beans, egg yolk, and pork. For just $3.50, that keeps me on my budget. We'll give it a shot here. It's not bad. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad.
Unfortunately for us, shops realize their big tourist days come on the weekend, so a Thursday such as this, many shops close up around 6 p.m., and that makes Chinatown feel more like a ghost town. No worries, it has been a full day, and with just $4 and some change left on my budget, I have worked up quite a thirst. I decided to wind down with a drink at the Cambie. Walking distance from Chinatown, it's located in Gastown. It boasts some of Vancouver's cheapest pints, and in a great location to boot. I'm relaxing and catching up with my old friend Kyle, who just happens to be in Vancouver on business. We do go back nearly 20 years, so we had plenty to catch up on. My $3.50 pint, extremely cheap for Vancouver's standards, just about maxes out my budget, so it's a celebratory drink as I wind down the night. But this whirlwind of a day isn't over yet. Earlier I did mention we'd be meeting back up with our couch surfing host Paul, so we were about to experience the next great part of the free community experience.
Staying with somebody who lives in the city can give you a whole range of places you can go and can take you to places. And I think visiting and not being a tourist and sort of visiting and like living there is the best part of couch surfing as a visitor.
How's that treating everybody? Is that 10 good shows you've seen tonight so far?
Welcome to Open Mic Night. Far from Vancouver's downtown tourist scene, we're hanging with the locals now, taking in some of the best free music they have to offer. From there, we head back to Paul's place to keep the music going. Together with a pair of German girls he's hosting tonight as well, it's Vancouver Unplugged as we go deeper into the night. A great way to wind down a long day.
Well, yesterday was a very busy day. My itinerary could have been tackled over a 3-day weekend, yet we got it all accomplished in just under 12 hours. All told, I spent $39.25. That is roughly 1/3 of what the average traveler spends on a day in Vancouver. As a lover of nature and big cities, Vancouver has always been one of my favorite destinations, but it doesn't have to break the bank. Just remember, if you can afford the time, you can afford the trip. Just keep a tight grip on that money clip and enjoy seeing the world on the backpacker's budget.